The fury of mankind. The emergency klaxons aboard the Arcturus outpost had been blaring for 16 minutes. Captain Elena Vasquez stood frozen before the main view screen, her face illuminated by the fiery glow of what had once been Earth. 16 minutes since the quantum burst transmission had reached them. 16 minutes since humanity's homeworld had fallen. "Play back the attack sequence again," she ordered, her voice unnaturally steady despite the horror constricting her chest. Lieutenant Darius Chen hesitated. "Captain, we've reviewed it 7 times already." "Again," she repeated. The screen flickered, showing Earth's familiar blue sphere. Then, without warning, hundreds of black, angular ships emerged from what appeared to be fold space tiers around the planet. The tactical overlay identified them as completely unknown configurations, nothing matching any species humans had encountered in their 3 centuries of interstellar expansion. The attack was methodical, precise. The alien vessels formed a perfect geometric pattern around Earth, and then simultaneously fired brilliant beams of violet energy that converged at specific points around the planet. What followed was beyond comprehension. The energy seemed to cascade through Earth's crust, creating chain reactions that tore entire continents apart. Within minutes, the homeworld of humanity was reduced to molten fragments, its moon shattered by the gravitational aftermath. 8 billion lives gone. Elena turned away as the recording ended. Any word from the other colonies? "All reporting in, Captain," Chen replied. "The attack appears to have targeted only Earth. No other human worlds have been hit." "Yet," Elena added grimly. Her neural implant pinged with an incoming priority message from Fleet Admiral Harrison Way. She accepted it, and his holographic form materialized before her. "Captain Vasquez," the Admiral began, his normally commanding voice subdued. "I assume you've seen the footage." "Yes, sir," she replied. "My crew is still processing it. As is all of humanity, I'm implementing Protocol Omega, effective immediately." Elena felt her blood run cold. Protocol Omega, the contingency plan created but never expected to be used, authorized the immediate mobilization of every single military asset humanity possessed for the defense or avenging of Earth. The Parliament of Colonies has unanimously voted to recall every warship, activate every reserve vessel, and commission every ship capable of being retrofitted with weapon systems. Admiral Way continued, "We're gathering at Proxima Centauri within the week. 900,000 ships, Captain. The largest fleet ever assembled in the history of our species." Elena's mind reeled at the number. Humanity had been at peace for nearly 50 years. The combined colonial defense forces only maintained about 30,000 active warships. To suddenly mobilize almost 1 million. "Sir, with respect, do we know who did this? Or why?" The Admiral's hologram flickered slightly. "Intelligence is still analyzing the attack patterns. The ships match nothing in our database. Their propulsion technology appears to involve dimensional folding capabilities far beyond our own. But deep space tracking stations have detected residual quantum wake signatures leading toward the Perseus Void." The Perseus Void, an unexplored region of space beyond the Cygnus Arm, considered impassable due to extreme gravitational distortions and unpredictable spatial anomalies. No human expedition had ever returned from attempts to map it. "Your orders, Admiral." "The Arcturus is being recommissioned as a heavy battlecruiser. You'll rendezvous with Engineering Fleet Delta at Saturn's shipyard in 72 hours for weapons installation and crew transfer. I want you there when we make our move." Elena nodded. "We'll be ready, sir." After the transmission ended, she turned to face the window that looked out upon the vastness of space in the direction of Earth, now just another point of light, but one that no longer held their homeworld. "Lieutenant Chen, set course for Sol. Maximum speed." "Aye, Captain." As the Arcturus prepared to jump, Elena retreated to her quarters. Once alone, she unlocked a small compartment near her bunk and removed a physical photograph. An antique way of preserving memories. Her parents, her brother, and his family, all smiling against the backdrop of the Pacific Ocean on Earth. All gone now. She hadn't even had the chance to say goodbye. The gathering of humanity's vengeance fleet was unlike anything recorded in history. Proxima Centauri's orbital spaces, normally hosting perhaps 100 ships at most, now teemed with vessels of every size and configuration. The massive Unity-class dreadnoughts, each over 15 kilometers long, formed the backbone of the assault force. Around them swarmed countless frigates, destroyers, and corvettes, many hastily retrofitted from civilian vessels. On the command deck of the flagship Retribution, Fleet Admiral Wei addressed the assembled leadership of humanity's remaining worlds. The holographic representatives of 17 colonial governments stood in a semicircle before him. The enemy made one critical mistake, the Admiral declared. They destroyed our cradle, but not our nurseries. Humanity survives on 17 worlds, with outposts and stations numbering in the thousands. We are not extinct, and we will not go quietly. Governor Elise Mbeki of the Ta City colonies raised her hand. Admiral, with all due respect, we're about to commit nearly every military resource we possess to an offensive action against an unknown enemy of clearly superior technological capability. If this fails, our colonies will be defenseless. If we do nothing, Governor, we'll be hunted down one by one, countered General Hiroshi Tanaka of the Mars Military Command. The attack on Earth was a precision strike, designed not just to destroy, but to demoralize. They expect us to cower, to splinter, to hide. They do not expect us to respond with unified force. Elena Vasquez, now commanding the recommissioned Arcturus battlecruiser, listened to the debate from her position among the fleet captains. Her ship had been transformed in the weeks since the attack, its scientific instruments replaced with targeting systems, its observation bays converted to launch tubes for antimatter torpedoes. Her crew of scientists and explorers had been supplemented with veterans and fresh recruits burning with rage and the desire for revenge. We've identified the dimensional signature of their jump technology, announced Dr. Kwan, the fleet's lead scientist. Based on residual traces, we believe they originated from somewhere in the Perseus Void. The void is impassable, stated Governor Richards of Epsilon Eridani. It was impassable, corrected Dr. Kwan. Our understanding of hypergeometry has improved dramatically since the last failed expedition. And more importantly, we've detected a stable wormhole entrance at the edge of the void, one that wasn't there before. The implications hung heavy in the command center. The attackers had not only destroyed Earth, but had left behind a path for humanity to follow, either as an arrogant taunt or as part of some larger strategy. It could be a trap, Elena found herself saying aloud. Admiral Wei nodded. Indeed, Captain. Which is why we're not sending scouts or a small task force. We're bringing everything we have. 900,000 ships. If it's a trap, it's one we intend to spring with overwhelming force. The vote was taken. The decision was unanimous. Humanity would enter the Perseus Void, find those responsible for Earth's destruction, and exact vengeance on a scale unprecedented in the history of the species. As the fleet prepared for departure, Elena returned to the Arcturus to ready her crew. Her executive officer, Commander Takeshi Yamamoto, greeted her at the airlock. The crew is at battle stations, Captain. Weapons are hot, shields at maximum. We're ready to jump on your command. Elena nodded, but paused before proceeding to the bridge. Takeshi, did you lose anyone? On Earth. The commander's stoic expression cracked slightly. My sister and her children were in Osaka. My entire family was in Costa Rica, Elena said quietly. I keep thinking about what they must have experienced in those final moments. Did they know what was happening? Did they suffer? Could they have been evacuated if we had some warning? We'll never know, Captain, Takeshi replied gently. But what we do know is that whoever did this must be held accountable. Elena straightened her uniform. Yes, but something about this doesn't add up. Why destroy Earth but leave the colonies untouched? Why create a pathway for us to follow? It feels Like we're being manipulated, Takeshi finished for her. Before she could respond, the fleet-wide alert sounded. Admiral Wei's voice echoed through every ship in the massive armada. All vessels, this is Fleet Command. Prepare for synchronized jump to the Perseus Void coordinates. Remember Earth. Remember why we fight. May whatever gods you believe in watch over us all. Elena took her place on the bridge, settling into the captain's chair as the countdown began. The view screen showed the breathtaking sight of humanity's assembled might. Ships stretching beyond visual range, their running lights creating a constellation of human determination. Jump in 3, 2, 1. The fabric of space-time folded around the Arcturus as it, and 900,000 other vessels, simultaneously entered the artificial wormhole that would take them to the threshold of the Perseus Void. Elena gripped her armrests, her thoughts not on revenge, but on a question that had been haunting her since the attack. What if they were walking into something far worse than they could imagine? Beyond vengeance, the Perseus Void wasn't empty. Far from it. As the massive human fleet emerged from the wormhole, they found themselves facing not the barren, inhospitable space they had expected, but an enormous artificial construct that defied comprehension. "My God," whispered Lieutenant Chen, as the visual feed stabilized. Before them stretched a vast Dyson swarm, millions of enormous panels arranged in perfect geometric patterns around a dying star. But unlike the theoretical Dyson structures humans had envisioned building someday, this was clearly ancient, parts of it visibly decayed or damaged. And it was inhabited. Sensors detected thousands of structures throughout the swarm, along with ships of various configurations, including designs that matched those that had attacked Earth. All ships maintained formation, came Admiral Wei's voice over the command channel. Weapons hot but hold fire until ordered. Elena leaned forward in her chair. Tactical analysis. Her weapons officer, Lieutenant Rivera, looked up from her console. The swarm appears to be divided into discrete sectors, Captain. We're detecting at least 7 distinct architectural styles, suggesting multiple species or civilizations. Energy readings are confusing. Some sections appear to be operating at full capacity, others are completely dormant. Life signs. Billions, Rivera confirmed, but distributed unevenly throughout the structure. Before Elena could issue further orders, a priority alert flashed across the main view screen. Admiral Wei was calling an emergency council of all ship captains. When the secured channel opened, Elena found herself in a virtual meeting space with hundreds of other captains and the Admiral himself. "We've made first contact," Wei announced without preamble. A transmission in multiple formats was directed at our fleet the moment we emerged from the wormhole. Our linguists and AIs have been working to decode it. A holographic figure appeared in the center of the virtual space, a being unlike any alien species humanity had encountered before. It had a vaguely humanoid shape, but appeared to be composed of crystalline structures that shifted and realigned as it moved. When it spoke, its voice was a synthesized approximation translated by the fleet's AI systems. "Humans of Earth, we have been waiting. The harvest has begun. Your arrival is precisely as the architects predicted." Admiral Wei stepped forward. "I am Fleet Admiral Harrison Wei of the United Human Colonies. You destroy our homeworld without provocation. We have come for explanations and justice." The crystalline being seemed to shimmer. "Not destroyer. Messenger." The signal was sent as agreed upon in the compact. Your progenitors understood the necessity. A wave of confusion spread through the assembled captains. Elena found herself speaking up. "What compact? What progenitors? Earth was destroyed only weeks ago." "Temporal perception variance," the being replied, as if this explained everything. "The compact was sealed 50,000 of your years ago, when the architects determined that humanity's genetic potential made you ideal candidates for inclusion in the preservation protocol." Admiral Wei's expression hardened. "We have no record of any such agreement. You murdered 8 billion people. Our fleet has come to ensure that justice is served." The crystalline being's form fluctuated dramatically. Not murder. Ascension. The physical forms were converted to energy necessary for the final phase. The essence was preserved in the continuity matrix. A stunned silence fell over the virtual meeting. Alina felt a chill run down her spine as the implications became clear. "You're saying our people aren't dead?" she asked carefully. Physical death occurred. Consciousness patterns were extracted and stored. This was the agreement. The signal from your world confirmed readiness when your technological development reached the appropriate threshold. Before anyone could respond to this extraordinary claim, alarms blared throughout the fleet. Something massive was emerging from behind the Dyson structure, a ship so enormous it dwarfed even the largest human dreadnoughts. "New contact," shouted Rivera's voice over Alina's comlink. "Configuration unlike anything in the database. It's, Captain, it's at least 500 kilometers in length." The virtual meeting dissolved as captains rushed back to their command duties. Alina found herself back on the Arcturus bridge, staring at the monstrosity that had appeared on their sensors. "All ships, Defensive Formation Delta," ordered Admiral Wei over the fleet-wide channel. "Do not fire unless fired upon. I repeat, hold your fire." The massive vessel moved with impossible grace for its size, positioning itself between the human fleet and the Dyson swarm. Then it broadcast a message, not in the synthetic voice of the crystalline being, but in perfect, unaccented human English. "Children of Earth, we have watched your development for 50 millennia. We have guided your evolution. We have preserved your essence. And now, you have come home." From the massive ship emerged smaller vessels, thousands of them, each bearing markings that seemed to combine elements of ancient human civilizations with alien geometries. "What the hell are they?" muttered Takeshi as the ships approached. The answer came in another transmission, this one accompanied by visual data that appeared on every screen in the human fleet. It showed beings that appeared almost human, but with subtle differences: slightly elongated limbs, eyes with vertical pupils, skin with a faint luminescent quality. "We are what you will become," said the leader of these near-humans. "I am Praetor Ilara, descendant of the first Exodus. What you call Earth was not humanity's beginning, but merely one chapter in a much longer story." The data streamed into the fleet's computers: historical records, genetic analyses, astronomical charts, all pointing to an incredible truth. Humanity had not evolved naturally on Earth. They had been placed there, a branch of an ancient human-like species that had once spanned multiple galaxies before a cataclysmic war with an entity known only as the Devourer. According to these records, Earth had been a preservation world, a genetic ark where a pure strain of the original species could develop in isolation, protected from the knowledge of cosmic threats until they were ready to rejoin their ancestral civilization. The attack on Earth wasn't an attack at all, Alina realized, speaking aloud to her stunned bridge crew. It was a harvest, a graduation. Admiral Wei's voice came over a private channel. "Captain Vasquez, I'm selecting you to join the first contact team. Your background in synanthropology may help us navigate this revelation." Hours later, Alina found herself aboard a shuttle approaching the massive ancestral vessel, alongside Admiral Wei and representatives from the colonial governments. As they entered a cavernous docking bay, Alina couldn't help but notice architectural elements that seemed oddly familiar, patterns reminiscent of ancient human civilizations, from Sumerian to Mayan to Chinese. They were greeted by Praetor Ilara and a delegation of the near-humans, who called themselves the progenitors. "You came seeking vengeance," Ilara said, addressing Admiral Wei. "Instead, you will find purpose." "Purpose doesn't justify genocide," the Admiral replied coldly. Ilara's expression showed genuine regret. "We understand your anger. The ascension process is traumatic for emerging civilizations, but it was necessary. The Devourer has awakened again in the Andromedan void. The final war approaches. We needed Earth's bioenergy to complete the sentinel array that will protect this galaxy." "And our people?" Elena asked. You said their consciousness was preserved. Follow me, Ilara responded. They were led to an enormous chamber filled with what appeared to be crystal matrices, each pulsing with a soft light. Ilara placed her hand on one, and a holographic image appeared, a perfect representation of a human woman who Elena recognized with a shock. "Mom," she whispered. "Elena." The hologram responded, with all the inflection and personality of her mother. "Oh, my darling. They told us you might come." "What? What is this?" Elena reached out, her hand passing through the holographic form. "Consciousness transference," Ilara explained. "Your people's minds were extracted at the moment of physical death and stored here. They're not simulations. They are the actual consciousness patterns of your loved ones, preserved perfectly." Admiral Wei looked stunned. All 8 billion. All who were on Earth at the time of the ascension. Yes. Elena struggled to process this information. But they didn't consent. They didn't know. "Your earliest ancestors did," Ilara replied softly. "The compact was sealed when we first seeded Earth. The signal that triggered the ascension came from your own world, the specific quantum signature your scientists created when you achieved controlled fusion using dimensional folding. It was the marker we established to indicate your civilization had reached the necessary technological threshold." The revelation hit Elena like a physical blow. Humanity had unknowingly signaled their own ascension when they had developed their most advanced power source. In the days that followed, the truth continued to unfold. The progenitors shared their knowledge of the coming threat. The Devourer, an ancient entity that consumed entire galaxies and was now approaching from Andromeda. The Dyson Swarm was actually a massive defensive weapon, powered in part by the converted bioenergy of Earth's population. And the 900,000 ships of humanity's vengeance fleet were now being offered a choice. The human leadership was divided. Some, like General Tanaka, advocated for immediate alliance with the progenitors. Others, including Governor Mbeki, argued that the destruction of Earth was unforgivable, regardless of the justification. A month after their arrival in the Perseus Void, Elena found herself addressing the assembled leadership of both humanity and the progenitors. She had spent weeks communicating with the consciousness matrix that contained her family and millions of other former Earth inhabitants. What she had learned had transformed her understanding of their situation. "The people of Earth still exist," she began. "They are conscious, they are aware, and they have chosen to support the alliance against the Devourer. They understand what was done to them in a way we cannot, and they have asked me to deliver a message." She activated a holographic projection, and millions of human forms appeared, representatives of every nation, culture, and community that had existed on Earth. Their spokesperson, a woman Elena recognized as the former Secretary General of Earth's United Nations, stepped forward. "We did not choose the manner of our transition," she said, "but we choose now to give meaning to it. The threat facing all sentient life is real. We have seen the evidence that the progenitors have shared. We ask our children from the colonies not to waste lives in vengeance, but to join us in purpose." Admiral Wei stood. "And if we refuse, if we demand the restoration of Earth and its people?" Praetor Ilara answered, "The energy conversion is irreversible. Earth cannot be restored, but the consciousness of its people can eventually be transferred to new bodies after the threat is neutralized. This is the best we can offer." The choice before humanity was clear: pursue a war of vengeance against vastly superior beings who claim to be their ancestral kin, or join a cosmic alliance against an existential threat, with the promise that the consciousness of Earth's population would someday be restored. In the end, it wasn't the admirals or governors who decided. It was the consciousness constructs of Earth's people themselves who convinced the fleet to stand down and negotiate a new compact with the progenitors. The 900,000 warships that had come to avenge Earth were repurposed. Some were upgraded with progenitor technology to join the defensive fleet around the Dyson Swarm. Others returned to human space to establish new defenses and prepare the colonies for the coming conflict. Elena Vasquez, promoted to admiral, became the primary liaison between the human fleet and the progenitors. Each day, she spent hours with the consciousness construct of her family, learning the history of their species and the nature of the threat they faced. "We came seeking revenge," she reflected to Admiral Wee as they watched human engineers working alongside progenitors to integrate their technologies. "Instead, we found our beginning." Wee nodded thoughtfully. "And perhaps our end as well, if we cannot stop this devourer." "Then we'll face it together," Elena replied, watching as the first joint human progenitor vessels began their training maneuvers against the backdrop of the ancient Dyson swarm. Not just as humans, but as guardians of all conscious life. The 900,000 warships had come to execute justice. Instead, they had become the vanguard of something greater: humanity's return to its cosmic inheritance and the dawn of a new chapter in their existence. The fury of mankind had been transformed into purpose, and in the face of extinction, they had found unity with beings they had never known existed. As Elena gazed at the spectacular vista of ships and structures spanning the Perseus void, she realized that humanity's greatest strength had never been its capacity for vengeance, but its ability to adapt, to forgive, and to find meaning even in the greatest loss. The war that awaited them would test these qualities to their limits, but for the first time since Earth's destruction, she felt something she had thought lost forever.